Welcome to Unmasking the Gods, lifting the veil on religion, power, and myth. When every god falls silent, what remains? When the scriptures fade, when the temples crumble, what's left? Light, not the sun that rules the sky, but the one that watches through your eyes, silent, aware, eternal. For thousands of years, humanity searched for that light outside itself. We saw it in stars, in kings, in saviors. We built myths to bridge heaven and earth, to make the infinite feel close. Those myths carried us through fear and darkness. They gave the soul a language for wonder. But now the stories have done their work. They led us to the edge of something deeper, the realization that the light we worshipped has been within us all along. When Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you," he wasn't offering poetry. He was describing perception. The light that gives life to the world is the same awareness that looks out from behind your eyes right now. This is the quiet revolution hidden inside every religion, the shift from belief to awakening. Belief says, there is something greater than me. Awakening whispers, that greatness is what I am. Through every age, humanity built ladders to heaven. We climbed through sacrifice, through prayer, through reason. But every step upward brought us closer to what was already inside. The journey wasn't about reaching the divine, it was about remembering it. The mystics of every faith saw this clearly. Lao Tzu called it the Tao, the way behind all ways. The Buddha called it awakening, seeing things as they are. The Gnostics called it the spark, a fragment of divine fire hidden in matter. Christ called it the light that no darkness can overcome. Different names, one truth. Consciousness itself is the sacred. To awaken is to realize that God was never a being apart from creation, but the being of creation itself. The awareness shining through all forms. That recognition changes everything. Worship turns into wonder. Prayer becomes listening. Heaven stops being a place and becomes a state of presence. You have felt it. Standing at dawn as the world glows alive, or hearing music that dissolves every boundary between you and everything else. In those moments, you aren't believing in the divine, you're being it. The mind falls silent, and only awareness remains. This is what every resurrection story points toward. The rising sun, the returning light, the eternal rebirth, not of a body, but of consciousness waking up to itself. And yet awakening doesn't deny darkness, it understands it. Light needs shadow to be seen. Death makes life precious. Doubt makes truth meaningful. The sun must set for the dawn to matter. That's what the ancients intuited when they told their myths of descent and return. They weren't predicting miracles. They were describing the pattern of reality itself. Beyond belief, the opposites stop fighting. Day and night, sacred and ordinary, human and divine, all reveal themselves as one movement of the same light. When you see this, fear dissolves. Death loses its finality. The question, what happens after, becomes less urgent than, what is happening now? Because now is where eternity hides. Awakening isn't an escape from the world, it's intimacy with it. The same mystery that turns galaxies turns your heart. The same energy that burns in the sun breathes through you. The universe isn't out there. It's happening here, through awareness itself. And in that seeing, compassion is born. When you know that every being is the same light in disguise, judgment fades. Love your neighbor as yourself becomes literal, because your neighbor is yourself wearing a different face. The mystics called this the unitive vision, the point where faith matures into understanding. The seeker and the sought are one. The eyes that look for God are the eyes through which God looks back. This is the real resurrection. The light awakens to itself and says, I was here all along. No doctrine, no dogma, just direct knowing. When the mind quiets, the world shines differently. The smallest things become sacred, a breath, a leaf, a voice. You see that nothing is ordinary because everything exists within the same awareness. Belief once told us the divine was elsewhere. Awakening shows that the divine was never missing. It doesn't end religion, it completes it. The old symbols and the cross, the flame, the rising sun, come alive again as mirrors of consciousness. The cross becomes transformation. The flame becomes awareness. The sun becomes the eternal witness. Beyond belief, there is no need to defend or convert, no need to prove or deny. The truth doesn't depend on agreement. It simply is. This realization isn't grand or dramatic. It arrives quietly like dawn light through a window. You notice that you are breathing, that the world is breathing with you, and that there was never a separation. You begin to see what the prophets meant when they spoke of eternal life. It isn't a promise for the future. It's the recognition that the present moment never ends. The gods have served their purpose. The myths can rest. Because the real temple was never built of stone. It was built of awareness, indestructible and infinite. And perhaps that's what humanity's long story was always leading toward. Not heaven above or paradise beyond, but the awakening of consciousness itself. The light that once rose in the sky now rises in the soul. You are that light. You have always been. The search ends here, not in conclusion but in clarity. When belief dissolves, what remains is not emptiness but radiance. Life seeing itself as sacred, everywhere, forever. This is the truth behind every faith, every myth, every resurrection. The light was never lost. It only forgot itself for a while. And now, it remembers.